Hello everyone, Namaste. I'm glad to be back with another episode of RightCast. I'm your host Icha Pandey. Today we have an esteemed guest, Mr. Usman Dastgir, Deputy Director for On-Campus Education Group. On-Campus Education Group is one of the leading educational provider across UK and Europe. So let's welcome him. Welcome to RightCast, sir.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here.
Okay. My very first question to you is about the on-campus itself. Could you please tell us about on-campus and how is it supporting students in achieving their academic goals?
Yep. So on campus, in a nutshell, we're basically pathway providers. So on campus is sort of a brand. It's a part of Cambridge Education Group. We've been in the business for over 70 years. But on campus itself is the pathway wing, and we have our centers based in the UK, in France, in the Netherlands, where we equip students, particularly international students, to actually come with us and either study their foundation programs, go for an international year one or the pre-masters programs. So it's all about equipping them to actually perform and to succeed in their university courses accordingly.
Okay. As on-campus has partnered with three prestigious universities,
Yes.
right? So what are the key universities you'd like to see about?
We do, I think, and we're very proud of it because we've got some very high-ranking, very prestigious universities. Top of the list is, of course, University of Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and we've got University of Southampton, which is, of course, a Russell Group university. So these need no introduction, right? Because I think they're world-renowned brands. They're top 100 ranked in the world. We've also got a lot of other universities which rank highly subject-wise. So, for example, there's University of Loughborough, which is fantastic in terms of sport. It's number one in the world actually for sport. We've also got University of Reading, home to the Henley Business School. Everybody knows that's a very famous business school, which is over there. So we've got very key brands. Aston University is another one, which I think is part of our crown jewel. So we've got some excellent universities. These are there to actually allow students to study at top universities in the world. And where we step in is because a lot of these universities might not be accepting international students based on their local curriculum. So that's where we're there to support them. We're there to allow the students to still aim for these prestigious universities, and they can come through us and actually achieve their dreams, which they've had of studying at these top places.
All right. So from a regional perspective, what do you
Yeah.
think which centers are quite popular and
Yeah.
the courses?
That's a good question. Because obviously every region operates differently, right? I think students tend to think differently when they're from South Asia compared to perhaps students from different parts of the world. So I think from a regional perspective, if I'm speaking about Nepal in particular, I think in terms of courses, it's quite simple, right? Business is obviously number one,
Yeah.
and there's huge interest in computer science and IT. And to be fair, I think it's in line with global goals and ambitions of students because it's the new age, right? It's the age of AI, it's the age of new technologies coming around. So students want to be part of that bandwagon. So that's obviously a very popular course. We've got cybersecurity is coming up, and engineering, of course, has always been one of the top courses. So course-wise, I think these tend to do really well. That's about the courses. In terms of the universities and the centers, which I would say are actually really popular, I think number one on the list definitely has to be Aston. The reason is because obviously integrated CAS is really popular in Nepal. We do offer integrated CAS options in Aston, in LSPU, Sunderland, and Hull. So I think Aston definitely because it's academically, it obviously is a very good university. It's located in Birmingham, which is the second largest city in the UK. So I think if you combine all the factors, it does really well. It's popular across all of South Asia, and it's doing really well actually from Nepal as well. I think number two, it's a close contest for number two, but I think it's probably going to be a tie between LSPU and Sunderland. Sunderland because there's a lot of referrals from Sunderland because it's a university which does fantastically well. I think our colleagues at Sunderland University have really done a good job in promoting Sunderland University. So that helps us because we're the pathway wing of that. That absolutely is over there. But at the same time, I think LSPU because it's located in London, in central London. It's a university not known just for academics. It's also known for its employability and careers perspective. So I think it's a close tie between these two. But if I were to handpick the popular centers from this region, I would say it has to be Aston, LSPU, and Sunderland.
Okay, what I have felt that many students want to go to study in London campus only.
Yeah.
So, what's your perspective? Do they need to explore the other part or London
Yeah.
only?
Again, see, I would say it's about educating ourselves, right?
Mhm.
And I think this is where me and you come in, because when students are coming to us for advice, they've heard different stories, they've heard different angles or perspectives from their friends, their relatives. So London is obviously popular because it's London,
Yeah.
right? Everybody knows London. A lot of students you might find they know London, but when you say what's the full form of the UK, they might not know what it stands for, right? So
Yeah.
that element is definitely there. And by no means should we say that London is not a good choice. It is, after all, a very popular student city, right? There's over 100,000 students living in London, studying in London. So that element is there. Having said that, I think education has grown and evolved over the years. There's really brilliant options which you'll find beyond London as well, right? And some of the concerns which students tend to have is that, would I be finding part-time jobs?
Yeah.
How will the environment be? So it's interesting because a lot of cities outside of London tend to be safer cities. And besides, my approach and what I always tell students is that you always need to have the right mindset to actually find the jobs. But wherever there's people, there's going to be jobs,
Yeah.
right? It's all about putting your efforts in the right place, and that's actually going to be going to really help you in the future. So it's not just London. The UK is obviously it's a huge, it's a big country in terms of the options available, and some of the cities and some of the universities will actually surprise you when you actually reach the campus. You're really taken aback by the nature and the size of those universities, the campus life over there, which sometimes you may not find in London because it is a built-up city. It's highly populated as well. You won't find a lot of green spaces perhaps in those campuses. So if you're looking for a nice open environment to study, a comprehensive campus life, there's a lot more life beyond London as well.
Yeah. So when it comes to going abroad, parents and students definitely look for affordability. So
Yes.
how is on-campus helping students get the scholarship?
Yeah. Of course, affordability is a concern that students have, and I think a lot of students, they want to get the best possible option with the least possible cost. What on campus is doing is, in that regard, is we've got exclusive scholarships available for every intake, which we do give to students. And of course, I mean, if any student wants to learn more about that, I think they should absolutely visit RightPath as well to learn more about the scholarship options we have available. But we're giving very good scholarships across all our centers. So that does help ease the burden. And these scholarships, in some cases, they range up to about 40%. So it's a big contribution we're making at our end, just to make sure that students are able to realize their dreams and don't have to fall back simply based on the cost factor. We're doing that. At the same time, on campus is actively engaging with our university partners to make sure that it's not just the first year we're providing the scholarships for. We actively engage with them to allow students to actually avail progression scholarships. So what happens in that sense is, if you want to avail any option with us, we will give you a complete plan about scholarship during the on-campus year as well as scholarship during the progression years.
Yeah.
So we try to help students as much as we can. Apart from that, I think the career service we have with all of our university partners and on campus itself, we try to help students in terms of getting their part-time employment under UKVI rules, which is permitted, and it's just to allow them to be more comfortable during their time in the UK. So we're doing a lot of things which will help students during their time with us.
So UK has become a quite popular destination for international students. So many students think that they will not be able to find a job, right? So what are the advice you would like to give in terms of skills? Like what are the skills needed?
It's a very thorough question, and again, I think there's a lot of misconception about this. It's very simple for us to really say that, for example, there's no jobs in the UK. But at the same time, I asked him the question that, have you actually experienced this yourself, or is this information which is coming in?
Yeah.
In this day and age, I think it's very important to segregate information. A lot of information which comes to us may not be accurate, right? And in terms of employment, in terms of finding the right career path, it's highly important that you make the efforts yourself, right? A lot of times, if I sit in this chair and I expect somebody will come running to me with a job offer. It's not going to happen. You have to make the effort for it, and you have to make the right effort, right? If I continue running in one particular angle, I might not reach my destination. You need to know that what is the path which you have to take to actually reach your destination. There's absolutely jobs available in the UK. We have success stories every single year. At the same time, like globally, there's challenges, of course, which do exist, right? And I think it's very important for students these days to think not just about the academics. Their academic journey needs to revolve around building their personality, right? Because what matters in this day and age is you have to be aware of what's going on around the world, what's going on, places where we live. Um, they also have to be they also have to build their confidence level. A lot of times, what we tend to notice is particular students from South Asia, right? They're underconfident. They may know the things, they may know, what the technicalities are, but they just don't have that confidence. And I think they need to build that skill. They need to develop that because that leads to their personality. So it's about building. It's a common phrase being used, but it's about soft skills being used. I think it's beyond that as well. I think the most critical element is building your personality. And how do you build your personality? Actively engage in extracurricular activities before university, during university. Don't just focus on academics. Yes, that is the goal, that is the key. But focus on extracurricular activities. Participate, challenge yourself. Challenge yourself into debating societies. Challenge yourself into participating in sports or in other activities which irregularly you wouldn't have been doing, right? Because when you push your boundaries, it expands your horizons, right? And the more dynamic personality you'll have, that's what's going to actually help you get the jobs. I've always said this to every student: your university degree is good enough to get you through the door. To land you the job, it's about your personality and how you actually portray yourself and how you actually present yourself. So the academic part is good enough to get me through the door here.
Yeah.
But if I actually land a job, that's all about me, right? So work on that. Work on that aspect of yourself and develop yourself into a dynamic personality. And I think, be it anywhere in the world, you will be able to carve out your career. You will be able to find the right job, which is made for you, basically.
Okay. So as you wrap up, I would like to ask you one last question.
Yeah.
Could you please give one advice to the students who are going to the community 2025?
Advice. I think the first and foremost advice is please listen to expert advice. When you're over here, which means coming to people like you, coming to the experts in the field, because they will guide you to the right options. When you go to university, listen to the right sort of advice. A lot of people will try to advise you left, right, and center, but you have to filter out the noise, right? Go to the people who you trust. Go to people who have active knowledge about living in the UK, about studying in the UK, about working in the UK. So you need to filter out the noise, right? Go to the centers, listen to people who are credible. That's very important in this day and age. That's number one. Number two, I think it's very important for students to actually ensure that, because the main goal they're going for, the main objective is academics, right? Make sure, please, to keep your attendance high. Right? I know there's a lot of things which will distract you. There's a lot of things which you might want to prioritize, but your priority has to be your education. You're investing a lot of money. You're investing a lot of time for this. Make the most of it, right? Make sure you attend all your classes, because the programs are designed for a reason. Sometimes students tend to think that, this course or this is unnecessary.
Yeah.
It may not be required. That's not the case. Professionals and experts have designed courses. It's there for a reason. If you make sure your attendance is high, you will perform well academically, and you won't have to spend a lot of time after the regular university hours in terms of really getting up to speed with things. So please make sure you do that. Number three is enjoy your time, right? It's not about academics, it's about the experience. There's no point in you going there, sitting, going to classrooms, and then end up coming back. You should experience the place. Wherever you find the opportunity, do travel inside the UK, outside the UK if you can as well. It really teaches you a lot about different elements and different angles of life. So do that. Have fun with what you're doing, right? And don't get too stressed out by challenges which come your way. I think challenges only make a person stronger. They make you into a better individual. So I think take them on the chin, refocus, and just keep looking ahead, because that has to be their path to success.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Usman, sir,
No worries.
for providing such insightful information. It was really great talking to you.
It's my pleasure being here, and I look forward to perhaps doing more of these in the future. And yeah, just if any student needs any advice, we'd love to actually meet them through you guys. So thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.